All right. Thank you, Ms. Sands. You may step down. Have you convinced your son that he shouldn't get on the back of any more bulls?
Yes, he's not gone anymore.
Okay. Congratulations. All right, if you would ask Ms. Sands to step out, please. You'll probably be called back in here in just a few minutes, Ms. Sands, once the jury comes in. All right, let me hear your argument. General, why do you believe that the evidence, obviously there's no question about the fact that this defendant attempted to solicit someone to take her phone. That's clearly admissible proof. The argument, as I understand it, is that there should be no mention of the fact that she suggested that the cops might find something to do with drug transactions on the phone. Am I correct in that assumption?
That is correct, Your Honor, because the motion that they filed on 404B was specifically about the other talk about drug transaction that we dealt with last Friday.
Let me hear your argument, General.
Your Honor, I think as we heard in the prior hearing on Friday, that there in fact are text messages that evening involving drug transactions, specifically with Mr. Key. And this is the defendant's statement. She's telling this individual to get rid of the phone, and that is one of the reasons she is saying she wants this phone disposed of. So I think it certainly goes to her motive and the state's theory about this case. The text messages, I think the court's already ruled that involving Joe Key are coming in. So I think her testimony is consistent with the introduction of that text message. Again, that's what she's telling this individual, why she wants to get rid of that phone. So I think that is relevant to this case. Specifically, I mean, she's given multiple false reports, and here, again, she's saying someone shot her daughter, maybe something to do with drugs, and that's why she wants to get rid of the phone. So I think it is relevant, and I think it should be admissible.
Mr. Whalen, anything else?
Judge, I fail to see how the talk of wanting to get rid of the phone because there may be something about drugs on it fits into their theory of the case, when the theory of the case is that she left the firearm where the child could get a hold of it, and the child did get a hold of it and shot his sister. So I don't know how this has any probative value and makes any element of the charge of first-degree murder, or even clearly wanting to get rid of it. It goes to the tampering, but it doesn't. The fact that there may be some drug talk going on there doesn't make that more or less likely. I mean, she's bent it and put it in the sink.
Well, the damning evidence, for lack of a better way of putting it, is the effort to discard the phone and her desperate attempts to have someone else take the phone and do something with it. Why does the concern that she has over the police finding something about drugs on her phone when her daughter's body is not yet cold, why doesn't that go directly to her state of mind and consciousness of guilt?
Because, Judge, for one, this little procedural issue is that they did not file a notice of 404B to introduce that.
Show me where in the rule they have to do that.
Why did we have an argument last Friday, Judge, about the other drug incident? I mean, we can't say that yeah, they have to put us on. This is a prior bad act, right?
Well, it's an admission by your client.
But it's also a prior bad act. So under 404B, they got to give me notice. They knew that. That's why they gave me notice on the other incident. So we can't have trial by ambush by giving notice on one incident and not on the other one, and then just throw it up here and say, well, it kind of, it helps our theory. No, it prejudices the jury beyond its probative value, and for that reason, it's inadmissible.
I think in the grand scheme of things, General, what you're eliciting from this witness, the fact that she says something about drugs on her phone is not very significant. I'll allow you to put it in if you want to, but devastating proof from this witness is about the fact that this defendant, while her daughter is in another part of that hospital, is desperately trying to discard her phone because she doesn't want the police looking at it. So, but it's in this court's judgment, the fact that she's doing that is highly probative. The fact that she makes a statement about her reason for doing so, when you consider it in conjunction with the fact that we're going to hear from another witness who I've already heard from, that she had been texting on that very phone on the way to the hospital about getting rid of that gun, that's very incriminating proof. So it's highly probative, it's highly relevant, it's coming in. I will allow the state to elicit the testimony, the admission she makes about drug dealing, because I think it goes directly to her state of mind, and what, which, I mean, the whole central issue here, folks, is was she negligent in how that gun was handled and allowing the one child to get the gun and potentially, and actually fatally harm the other. So it's relevant, it's coming in. The court clearly finds that whatever unfair prejudicial effect is greatly outweighed by the probative value. But I'll leave it to your sound discretion on whether or not you want to put that part of the testimony in, because to me that's, in the grand scheme of things of what this witness will testify, it's rather insignificant. All right. Anything else we need to take up pre-trial before we bring the jury back in? I don't know. We got all of them here? Okay, you got all our exhibits, Lisa?
Yes, sir.
I just want to be clear on the issue of the photographs that were coming in. It's not because the computer was up. It was because they were using them with the witness without laying a basis for entering them. I thought they were going to do that, but we had several of these photographs published during direct examination without the photo being introduced.
I don't recall that, but obviously authenticate the photograph before you introduce it. All right, we ready to bring the jury in? Get them lined up. All rise for the jury. All right, everyone may have a seat. Waive the call for the state.
Waive the call.
For the defense.
Waive the call.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you had a good evening. We are still in the state's case in chief. General, you may call your next witness.
Keaton Preston Tucker, Your Honor.
Recall Trooper Tucker. and have a seat, please. You're still under oath.
Good morning, Trooper Tucker. Kind of pick up where we left off. So you transported Ms. Howington from Balsam to UT Medical Center.
That's correct.
Okay. And is UT Medical Center in Knox County?
It is.
Okay. Once you transported her to UT Medical Center, what do you do?
I get out of my vehicle. Ms. Howington gets out of the vehicle, and we proceed into the ER lobby waiting area.
Okay. So you describe the lobby waiting area to the jury.
There's multiple different check-in areas. It's pretty hectic. It's always usually crowded. And off of that, there's various hallways where you go for the different rooms. Then there's like a family crisis room, kind of where you get updates about family members that are needing intense care.
Were you waiting with Ms. Howington during this period?
Yes, we're kind of in the middle of the middle of everything, middle of all the traffic.
Okay. Did at some point she go use the restroom?
She did.
Okay. Then at some point after that, were you approached with information about Ms. Howington's behavior in the bathroom?
Yes, I was alerted to her action, alerted by a male citizen concerning her actions in the restroom regarding her cellular device.
And what did you do from there with that information?
With that information, I attempted to make contact with her.
How did you do that? How do you attempt to make contact with her?
My first instinct was to get a female nurse to try to go into the restroom for me to try to obtain this cellular device, as cell phones are critical pieces of virtually any investigation in law enforcement. So I wanted to obtain it quickly. Eventually, I just kind of, like a better term, just shimmy my way into the women's restroom.
When you did that, was there anyone else in the restroom?
I don't recall. I know Ms. Howington was in the restroom.
Could you see her?
I did.
And what did you do from there?
I demanded her cell phone from her, and I obtained it.
When you obtained that cell phone, can you describe the script or describe the condition it was in?
I know it was in the off setting, and it was not on. It was not powered on.
What did you do with that cell phone from there?
I alerted the detectives, talked to Detective Riddle or Wardlaw over the radio, and just let them know that I had the phone, that I believed that the defendant had attempted to get rid of the phone, and then they advised me to preserve it, and they quickly came to my location in the hospital.
Okay. So let's circle back. At this point in 2019, you had a cruiser camera and not a body camera?
Correct. We had the old L3 system. Again, by today's standards, it's extremely archaic, low tech in today's time.
And was that in-cruiser camera system operating that evening?
It was.
Have you had an opportunity to review that your in-cruiser camera footage?
I have.
Is it fair and accurate?
It is.
I want to circle back to the time period when you're driving Ms. Howington to UT Medical Center. Do you recall that time period?
I do.
Have you reviewed that period of your cruiser camera?
I have.
Is it fair and accurate?
Yes, sir, it is.
May we have the table, please? Trooper Tucker, we're starting here at 21.
Is this to introduce?
I'm about to.
Okay.
21,
Not been
21.
introduced, Judge, it shouldn't be shown.
Well, he's showing it to him for authentication purposes. Is this your cruiser video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this beginning at 21, this period going forward?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair and accurate?
It is accurate. Yes,
We'll
sir.
move this in as the next exhibit.
All right, mark and file, it's number 6.
Move opposed, Your Honor.
You may.
Can we, get the lights on?
What's your name? Ron. My name's Brett. My name's Ron. Can we get out, sir?
What is some of that chatter going on right now?
That's just standard radio traffic for the Knoxville Police Department radio channel.
Give me 1 second, man. Ma'am, I'm going to be transporting one of the female family members to UT Medical Hospital. My starting knowledge is 7.
So I'll pause it here. We're at 21, 22, 28. That male voice, who's that?
Over the radio, sir.
Right there.
Oh, that was my voice, sir. Yes, sir.
No, 6.
21, 22.
And from what I could hear on the radio, there was a somewhat of a vehicle description, but I'm not exactly sure what it was. Did you see anything, or
Yes,
what did you see?
it was a Chrysler.
Okay.
So we're pausing at 21, 22, 24. That female voice, who's that?
That's Miss Howington.
Same as Howington that you identified earlier?
Yes, sir.
Just two of you in the vehicle, right?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Like I said, I was on Callahan, and I came here as soon as I could. So what we're going to have happen here is you can check on your child and everything, and they'll keep you updated, okay? And then we're going to stand by for the investigator to come to the hospital, okay? So I guess what I'm saying is, no matter what, we're going to stand by till he gets there. Does that sound okay to you? Okay.
My phone's about to die, though. That's the only thing.
Well, maybe we can work on that for you in the hospital.
because we're stopping at 21, 27, 26. Were you able to hear what she was saying there?
Like in that moment in time, or just now?
Just now.
Yeah, she said something to the effect of, hey, can you do that for me? It sounded like to me.
And that's her voice.
That's her voice, yes, sir.
We'll continue to play her on. Tucker. So once you arrive at UG Hospital, you and Ms. Howington enter UG Hospital.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Do you recognize this?
That's the public entrance to the emergency room.
Okay. So is that again your cruiser camera?
Yes, sir, it is.
Are you inside UG Hospital at this point?
Yeah, this started the second video, yes, sir.
Okay. So how does audio pick up if the cruiser's outside a building and you're inside a building? Can you explain how that works?
That technology at the time, it was kind of like a range for the signal. So our belt mic, what gives us audio is a microphone on our belt. Gives you visual as the camera and the dash. They were separate entities. As long as the mic weren't on our belt was in range per se of our vehicle, you'd be able to pick up audio. We're able to hear it because I can park so close to that front door and we're kind of just inside that wall that we're within that range.
And again, you've reviewed your cruiser footage?
Yes, sir.
And it's fair and accurate?
Yes, sir, it is.
No, we'd ask, move this into the next exhibit.
So this is a separate CD, or is it still part of the same
It's
CD?
on the same CD, but it's separate clipping on it.
It's all the same exhibit. Exhibit 6.
So if it picks up other people, does that mean they're close in proximity to you to pick up on that belt mic?
Absolutely. The technology at the time, it was not stellar technology. So if you were hearing somebody else on my mic, they were, I'd say, somewhat close, within a conversational distance.
Request permission, fellows, Your Honor.
You know.
Again, for the record, we're beginning at 21:48:09.
Thank you for calling now. Thank you for calling. You got it, okay? All right, you're gonna talk to the doctor? Okay.
So that, we're stopping at 21:48:34. So that sound, that creak, and then you're asking for the phone, explain what's going on right there.
That was after I was alerted to Ms. Howington's actions, and that was me. I believe that was me exiting the restroom. Was the creek? I was already had already entered and was talking to her face to face and obtaining possession of the phone.
We'll continue playing.
What are you doing?
Stopping at 21:48:46. Whose female voice is that?
It's Ms. Howington's.
Continue to play, Ron. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning, Trooper.
Good morning, sir.
You doing okay up there?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So, when they played that video, Mr. Hammond stopped it a few times and asked you about who the voice was and what they were saying.
Yes, sir.
He did not stop you at 21:34:29, and when you can clearly hear Miss Howington praying that her baby's okay, right?
Yes, sir.
You heard that clearly.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear her at around 21:31 saying, "Please come to UT. I'm in a police cruiser. They're taking me to the hospital. Please come to UT."
Yes, sir.
And when she was praying that to let her baby be okay, did you hear her crying at that point?
Yes, sir, I did.
And then she asked you if you'd heard anything about the condition of her baby.
Yes, sir.
And you told her you didn't know.
Correct, sir.
questions. Thank you, Trooper.
Any further, gentlemen? You may step down. Thank you, Trooper. You're excused. Call your next witness.
Marty Sands.
Please. And if you would come around and have a seat in the witness chair. Raise your right hand and be sworn. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Have a seat, please. Adjust the microphone if you need to.
Could you state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Marty Sands, MartySands.
And where do you live?
In Maryville, Tennessee.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes, I've been married 32 years.
You have any children, grandchildren?
3 kids and 6 grandkids.
What are the ages of your children?
31, 28, and 26.
Okay. Are you employed?
Yes,
Where are you?
at Waters State Community College.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to September the 14th, 2019. Did you have an occasion to be at UT Medical Center?
Yes, my son was hurt.
Okay. Can you tell me how your son got hurt?
He was at the fair riding a bull, and he got kicked in the head and had a broken collarbone.
So you went to UT Medical Center so he could get treatment for those injuries?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall what time you arrived there that evening?
I don't remember.
Okay. Can you tell me where you were once you arrived at UT Hospital, where you were staying?
In the emergency room department.
Okay. Was it just you in there, or were there other
It
people?
was me and my husband, and some of our friends had come.
Were there other people there waiting for their family or friends, or was it just you and your family in that emergency room?
Yes, it was a little busy.
Okay. Did you have an occasion to go use the restroom that evening?
Yes.
Can you just tell me about going into the restroom and describe its layout?
I went in to use the restroom. There was probably maybe 3 stalls, and it was empty. There was no one in there, and I went into the last one. And then I had heard somebody come in, and they come and stood at my door, and I just thought that was a little weird.
Okay. What happened next?
I opened the door to come out, and she's standing there, has the phone in her hand, and tries to get me to take it. She's like, "Please take my phone." And I questioned it, and she said a man had come into her house and shot her daughter, and the cops were going to take her phone, and she needed me to just throw it away somewhere for her.
She giving you any other reasons why she wanted to get rid of that phone?
She had said something that she sold drugs, and just that the cops were going to take her phone.
Okay. That female that you encountered in the bathroom that evening, you see her in the courtroom today?
Yes, over there in the black shirt.
Can you describe her physical appearance?
Like today, or?
Do you recognize the person that was in the bathroom that evening?
Yeah, she's sitting right there.
Your Honor, may the record reflect she's identified.
It shall.
So she asked you to take her phone. Do you do it?
No, I didn't.
Okay. What do you do from there?
She was just constantly begging me, and I had told her what happened to my son. I told her I was sorry about her daughter, and I just went on to wash my hands, and she just kept following me and like begging, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it."
Okay. Did you ultimately exit that restroom?
Yes.
Did she exit with you?
No.
Okay. So she stayed in the restroom when you exited?
Yes.
Okay. Once you exit the restroom, what happens next?
I just walked over there and sat down by my husband, and I told him what happened in the bathroom.
Okay. that individual you encountered, Miss Howington, in the bathroom, can you do you recall anything about her demeanor?
She was just nervous and like fidgety. She wasn't crying or anything.
Okay. So once you're out, you told your husband what had happened?
Yes.
And do you know what he did with that information?
He went and got one of the cops that was standing around there and talked to them, and they come over and was questioning me.
Okay. That's the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Good morning, Ms. Sands.
Good morning.
My name is Mike Whalen, and I represent Ms. Howington. I just got a couple of questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Before you ran into Ms. Howington in that bathroom that night, did you know her at all?
No.
Did you know anything about her?
No.
So you don't know how she is normally or anything else, right?
No.
And you were there because your son had been kicked
Hurt.
by a bull.
Yeah, at the fair and the rodeo.
That's got to hurt.
Yes.
Hopefully wasn't seriously injured.
He had a broken collarbone, but he's healed.
At the time you encountered Ms. Howington, did you know yet what the condition of your son was?
No, I did not.
What was your state of mind at that point?
I was upset, and
When you're upset like that in that kind of situation, you don't know what happens. You know your son's been injured, but you don't
Yeah.
know yet how seriously.
yeah.
What's your thinking like at that point? Clear?
I was-
Confused?
No, I was just, wanting to go back and see him so I could see for myself that he was all right.
Right. You were concerned
Yes.
because you're a mother, right?
Yes.
Or just a human being. You'd be concerned about a young man getting hurt,
Yes.
right? Thank you, ma'am. No further questions.
Anything further, General? You may step down, Ms. Sands. Thank you for being here. Call your next witness. Reset. All right, we'll stand in recess. Let me know when that witness gets here. Everyone may have a seat. Waive the call for the state. For the defense. Waive the call. All right, General, you are recognized to call your next witness.
The state calls Joe Key.
Come forward and have a seat in the witness stand. And before you do so, if you would raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Have a seat, adjust the microphone so that you can speak directly into it. Go ahead.
Mr. Key, if you will introduce yourself to the jury, please.
I'm Joseph Key,
And can you spell your first and last name for our court reporter?
Josephkey.
Okay, Mr. Key, are you someone that lives here in Knox County?
Yes,
Do you know an individual that's name is Robin Howington?
yes,
Do you see that person here in the courtroom?
yes.
Could you point her out, please?
Right over there in the black shirt.
Your Honor, could the record reflect he's identified the defendant?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell the jury, how do you know Miss Howington?
I bought pills from her.
I want to take you back to September of 2019. Okay? In September of 2019, was Miss Howington somebody that you were familiar with?
Yes,
Okay, and you indicated that you bought pills from her?
correct.
All right, and explain to the jury what that means.
I bought pills from her for my grandmother, and that's that.
Okay, and do you know what kind of pills it was that you were purchasing from Miss Howington?
Yeah, it was Roxy's.
Okay, and is Roxy's roxycodone?
Yes,
Okay. Do you recall if on September 14th of 2019, if you had a text interaction with the defendant, Miss Howington?
yes.
May I approach? Let me hand you this packet and ask, do you recognize this text exchange? You can flip through and make sure it's something that you recognize.
Yeah,
And can you tell the jury, is that text messages that you have in front of you communications between yourself and Ms. Howington
yes,
on September 14th of 2019?
yeah.
Our permission to make this next exhibit and publish it to the jury.
Is that number 7, Lisa?
Yes, sir.
All right, mark and file it as number 7.
If we could have the projector. All right, Mr. Key, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this packet that we have that's Exhibit 7, and then I'm going to also put up on the screen what you have right in front of you, okay? And then that way the jury can see what you're looking at. So, this text exchange, this is, are you the person that's in gray or the person that's in purple
It's blue.
or blue?
The gray.
Okay, and so it looks like that it starts with there's some kind of phone call that's made to you, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, do you recall anything specifically, Mr. Key, about that phone call that day?
No, not really.
Okay. Next, and I'm just going to read through. Your phone is cutting out. What did you say? And then it indicates that you respond, I had to get Grayson. I was supposed to put something in your mailbox from Shane. Who is Grayson?
That's my son.
Okay, and so you were indicating to Miss Howington that you had to go get your son?
Correct.
All right, she replies back, can I meet you? Or can I meet you?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next text exchange starts at the top of this page and goes to the next page, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
The next thing that you say starts at this page and then goes to the next page, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next page. It says, I ain't left the crib yet if you're over this way. Is that what you're saying to Miss Howington?
Yeah.
And what was the purpose of you trying to meet up with Miss Howington on this particular occasion?
To buy pills.
Okay. She responds back, OTW. What does OTW stand for?
On the way.
All right, and then you say, okay, And then she says here, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Then it looks like there's a missed call where you attempted to call Miss Howington, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's some more communication from you that starts with, hey, what's up? Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, if we could flip to the next page. And then you also say, yo, what up? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then she responds back, what's up? And then this next portion, I want you to explain to me what you all are talking about. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to ask you to explain what it means, okay? So it looks like it says, not shit, you good. How many was you wanting? My bad, wrong person. On the how many you want part, I need 6 of them. Can you explain to the jury what was happening during that portion of the conversation?
I was buying pills, and I was texting her, my bad, wrong person, that I was talking to my grandmother.
Okay, and so when you said how many was you wanting, you meant to send that to your grandma?
Yes.
And so then you said that, my bad, wrong person, on the how many you want part?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you meant to text Miss Howington, I need 6 of them?
Yeah.
When you said, I need 6 of them, what were you talking about?
Roxy's.
Okay, if you could go to the next page. Then it says, you got any grays or whites? Is that right?
Yes.
What are grays or whites?
Roxy's.
Okay. And then there's a missed call. Do you remember calling Miss Howington at that point in time?
Not really.
Okay. Then there's a question mark, and then it looks like the next portion says, I need 10 of them, you good. Was
Yeah.
that you? Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, have you changed your request from 6 to 10?
Yes.
Do you remember why that was?
Because she wanted a little more.
And then this next text message is from Miss Howington, is that correct?
Yes.
And she says, go to my house the back way and get my gun out of the bush under the air conditioner. Gavin shot Destiny, then come to UT, and I got you for free. Do you recall receiving that text message from Miss Howington at around 9:26 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. When she indicated to go to her house the back way, did you know what that meant?
I assume like in the alleyway.
Okay. And are you familiar with where her air conditioning is and where her bush is that she was referencing?
Not really.
Okay. When you received this text message asking you to go get her gun out of the bush, what was going through your mind?
I didn't want no part in it.
And then the next text message says the police are there, but if you park in the alley and walk up, you're good because they're in the house. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so again, when you receive this second text message, what's going through your mind, Mr. Key?
I'm not doing none of this.
Okay. Did you in fact ever go to Miss Howington's house and try to retrieve a gun or anything of that nature?
Nope.
Okay. Then, following that, it looks like Miss Howington again attempted to call you at 9:26 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this one is black in color. So do you recall the phone call actually coming through?
Not really.
Okay. Do you remember receiving a phone? You might not recall what she said or anything like that, but do you remember receiving a phone call from Miss Howington after she sent you those text messages at 9:26?
Seems like I do, but
Okay.
I mean, it's been so long ago.
Okay. Do you recall being in the courtroom a few days ago when we played an audio of a cruiser where Miss Howington was talking to somebody on the phone?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall saying that that was a phone call that you received?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what Miss Howington said to you?
Can you do what I asked or something like that?
Okay.
I just remember that from the video.
Okay. Now, when she actually said that, could you hear what she was saying?
No.
Okay. You do recall Miss Howington calling you, though, and you not understanding what she was saying. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you one more picture. Do you recognize this picture?
Yes.
What is that a picture of, Mr. Key?
The front of her house.
Okay. If we could make this exhibit number 8.
Martin Powell is 8.
We can publish that to the jury on the projector. All right, Mr. Key, purchase pills from Miss Howington?
A couple.
When you did that, tell me what the routine was.
I would hit her up, go to her house, walk in, hand her the money, and leave.
Okay. And whenever you would go to her house, are you walking or driving?
Driving.
And when you drove, where did you put your car?
Normally in the front right here.
Okay. If you on exhibit number 8 will circle where you put your car.
Judge, are we talking about on a particular day?
I'm asking him about what happened in general.
Are you requesting instructions to the jury about this evidence?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing evidence which the court is allowing to give proper context to this witness's testimony regarding the text exchange between he and Ms. Howington, the fact that there is an allegation that there may have been some other form of illegal activity, specifically the sale or purchase of narcotics, does not in any way impair Ms. Howington's presumption of innocence in this case. You may not consider it as some form of propensity on her part that if she's done something like this, that therefore she's committed the crimes for which she's presently accused, but is solely being admitted for the limited purpose of providing proper context for the text messages and the exchange between this witness and Ms. Howington. Does everybody understand that? All right, go ahead.
Okay, so on exhibit 8 where you've circled in red, that's where you would typically park.
Yeah.
Now, on September 14th of 2019, did you go to Miss Howington's house and park outside her residence and walk in and purchase drugs on that particular day?
I don't believe so, no.
Pass a witness.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Morning, Mr. Key.
Morning.
Sir, you did testify before in this matter, right?
Yes.
And at that time, you were asked how you knew Miss Howington.
Yeah.
And you didn't say, I bought pills from her, did you?
No.
No, what did you say?
What do you mean?
When you were asked last Friday, how did you know Miss Howington, what was your answer?
I met her through a friend.
And what was that friend doing?
I assume buying pills from her.
Now, Mr. Key, you don't recall coming in here on Friday of last week and saying you met her through a friend who lived in the neighborhood and you were going to get a job cutting her grass because the friend said she paid well. You don't remember saying that?
I said I cut her grass and painted her house.
Right. And
I did odd jobs.
And you met her to do those jobs through a friend.
Yeah.
So you said all that on Friday at the very beginning of your testimony. How'd you know Miss Howington? That was your response, right?
Yep.
And today you walk in and they say, how'd you know Miss Howington? I bought pills from her, right? Why'd you change your story about how you met Miss Howington?
I didn't change my story.
So when you first met Miss Howington, it was just about buying pills.
Yeah, at the beginning, yes. And then as it went on, I did odd jobs.
And did you tell us any of that on Friday?
Yes.
I know it's been a long time ago, 3 days ago. You're saying that your testimony on Friday was that when you first met her, it was about buying pills. You know it was recorded,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know that was recorded.
Yeah.
And that's your testimony.
Yeah. I bought pills from her and I did odd jobs for her.
And are you still using pills?
Nope.
Were you using Friday?
Nope.
Were you using today?
Nope.
So it's your testimony that when you said, no shit, you're good, you were talking to your grandma.
Yes.
And then when you say, how many of them you want, oh, sorry, wrong person, you were still confused. You thought you were talking with your grandma.
No, I wasn't confused. I knew I was talking to my grandma, but I sent her the wrong message. I meant to send it to my grandma.
Because your grandma had changed her mind about how many pills she wanted at that moment.
Yeah.
From 6 to 10.
Yeah.
Grandma wanted those.
Yep.
And you realize it is a felony crime for you to deliver drugs to your grandmother, don't you?
I assume so. I don't know. I don't know what the crime is.
Or to be selling them to anybody else.
Yeah.
That is your testimony here, your sworn testimony under oath, that you were getting pills for your grandmother and no one else.
Yep.
I could have one moment ago. You just said when the state asked you about the conversation that you saw the video of from the phone, from the police car. Remember that? And you started talking about what she said, right?
Yeah.
And what you said on Friday was you couldn't hear when you were receiving that phone call on September 14th. You couldn't hear anything about the cop. You didn't know what was said, right? Is that,
Yeah.
You had to answer out loud so the
Yeah.
clerk could get you. So, have you seen that video again since last Friday?
No.
So that's the only way you knew anything about what that conversation was by watching that video on Friday?
Yeah.
No further questions.
Anything further, General?
Just briefly, Mr. Key, on Friday, you did talk about the exact same drug transactions that we talked about today. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's all.
You just changed your story about how you met her, right?
I didn't change my story.
So it didn't go from painting her house and cutting her grass to today being buying pills.
I bought pills from her, and I cut her grass and painted her house.
And on the text message that she sent you, she said she asked you to go by there and get that gun
Yeah.
because Gavin shot Destiny. And that was 9-something in the evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, you may step down, Mr. Key. Thanks for being here. Call your next witness.
Mike Rooney.
Mike, who?
Rooney.
Come around here, please, sir. Raise your right hand and be sworn. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Have a seat, please.
Good afternoon, or good morning. Could you state and spell your name for the court record?
It's Michael Rooney, R-O-O-N-E-Y,
And where do you live?
508 Balsam Drive, Knoxville.
Okay. Where are you employed currently?
Currently at the detention facility for the sheriff's office.
Okay. And what do you do there?
Property clerk.
How long have you been employed there?
2 years.
Okay. So in September 2019, were you employed with the Knox County Sheriff's Office?
I was not, no.
Okay. Circle back. So you reside at 508 Balsam.
Correct.
How long have you lived at that address?
I think it's about 12 years now.
Okay. Is it in Knox County?
It is.
Okay. Do you know a Robin Howington?
I do.
How do you know her?
She moved in, I want to say about 8-9 years ago,
Where did she move into?
to the house next door.
Okay. Directly next door?
Yeah, it's a large lot, but yeah, I think 502 address.
Do you see Robin Howington in the courtroom today?
Yeah.
Could you point her out and describe what she's wearing?
Yeah, she's right there in the black shirt.
Young man, the record reflect. I want to draw your attention to September the 14th, 2019. Were you living at 508 Balsam?
I was.
Were you home that evening?
I was.
Can you tell me about being home that evening?
I was just home watching a ball game. My daughter alerted me to some ambulance and fire truck outside, police cars. But prior to that, I had no indication there's anything going on.
Okay.
Mr. Rooney, see if he can move a little closer to that microphone.
Sorry.
Or you can scoot that.
Thank you, Mr. Rooney.
So you said your daughter heard some commotion outside and
She had,
alerted you?
She'd seen the lights from
Okay.
either the ambulance or the fire truck.
Did you go outside, or did anyone come to your door?
Not initially, no. Then after a little bit, the police came to the door asking if we'd seen or heard anything.
Did you hear anything that evening?
No, nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. So you didn't hear any a gunshot or gunshots?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have a home camera system?
We do.
What type of system is it, or was it at that time?
It was brand name of Z-Modo, Z-M-O-D-O. I don't know the model number and stuff like that, but it was in the corner of the porch.
Okay. So was it facing in the direction of Ms. Howington's residence?
Yeah, so it caught our front door where we park our cars and then on beyond. So it would have got the front of that house and into that intersection.
Do you know if it was working that night?
It was.
Have you reviewed it?
I reviewed it that night with the officers.
Okay. Is it fair and accurate?
Yeah.
And are the timestamps on the video fair and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Permission to approach, Your Honor?
You may. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need to approach the witness, just approach. You don't have to ask permission.
Take a look at that and tell me if you recognize what I've just handed to you.
Yeah, that's the disc that has the video on it. I just signed it.
Did you have an opportunity to review that?
I did.
And everything's fair and accurate?
Correct.
We've marked it up.
Mark the file, that is number 9.
And permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may. Tell me when it's ready.
We give the table on the light, Your Honor.
Got the lights, please.
So this is your front porch.
Correct.
Okay, so the camera's situated up in the corner,
Correct, yeah.
and it's facing towards Ms. Howard's residence.
That's right.
Okay. And for the record, we're at 828, 38, 829, I'm sorry. Can we get all the lights, Your Honor? It's a little-
All right, got some more.
Your Honor, I think it goes to the vehicle that does approach or rear.
I would object to this point. I don't know that this witness, he can authenticate the video in the system. I don't have a problem with that. If he's going to talk about what's happening on the video.
I haven't heard anything objectionable yet. It's video from his home is authenticated.
through about 8:58, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
About 4 minutes.
Break. All right. We'll take about 5 minutes. Don't discuss the case. We'll get you back in here in just a moment. I'll rise for the jury. Here in the courtroom, you're fine. If you want to go outside, that's fine, but literally it's going to be about 5 minutes, not to go anyplace far.
Yes, I can.
John, you're going to have to go from the newsroom.
I'll go from the newsroom.
We're still streaming.
Okay. Okay.
Did you change anything over there?
No. I just brought the mic up. Okay. Hey, John. I was just informed by David Sykes that we're still streaming here. Room. I need to go to the newsroom shot. Got it. I'll change right now.
I need Mr. Rooney, if you would come around and have a seat in the witness chair, please. I understand you're probably going to be coming right down in a moment, but I need to recognize Mr. Whalen for cross-examination.
Mr. Amos just has one question for him.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Amos just has one question.
Okay.
You want to see it again?
No.
Jim, text Tim and tell him to get the jury lined up, please. I'm sorry. I don't know how old.
There are several portions of the videos that we're going to play with Detective Brittle where there are redactions, and so I wanted to ask the court to give an instruction about that to the jury. Most of it is just when they leave the room and come back in.
I mean, are they going to hear any of that before lunch? Or is there enough that you can ask him to?
If we go for 30 minutes, no. If we go for an hour, potentially.
I mean, the food's supposed to be here at 12:30, so, and that clock's a little bit fast. Yes. Yes. All rise for the jury. Everyone may have a seat. Waive the call.
Waive the call.
All right, General Ammons, you are recognized for further questioning of this witness.
Mr. Rooney, the video footage we've just reviewed, did you provide that to law enforcement that evening, September 14, 2019?
I did.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Rooney.
You are free to go, Mr. Rooney. Thank you for being here. Call your next witness.
State calls Detective Brittle.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
Have a seat. Adjust the microphone if you need to.
Can you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Tim Riddle. Spelling on my last name's Riddle.
And where are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the Knoxville Police Department.
And what's your current assignment?
I have been a police officer for just over 20 years, and I'm currently assigned to the homicide unit of the Knoxville Police Department, where I've been for the last almost 14 years.
Okay, and can you describe for the jury, you said you've been in the homicide unit for the past 14 years. What types of crimes does that cover?
We work every serious case, a crime against a person. That would include rapes, robberies, aggravated assaults, homicides, things of that nature, any serious crime against a person.
And how many detectives are there currently in that unit?
Currently in our unit, we have remodified in the last year or so to split up homicide from violent crimes. In our unit right now, we've got 8 detectives, 2-man teams, and we've got 3 violent crime investigators.
Okay, so back in September of 2019, were you guys considered violent crimes?
We, at that particular time, major crimes or violent crimes, and that usually consist of about 12 investigators, 3-man teams.
Okay. Now, when a violent crime comes for you all to begin investigating, does one detective go out and do every single thing on the case, or is it something that there's a teamwork approach?
My experience is it's more beneficial for us on a team approach. Generally, we want as many investigators as possible out investigating crimes of this serious nature.
And so in this particular case, whenever you all received information that there had been a shooting on Balsam Drive, are you the lead detective on the case?
Yeah, generally what we do is we try to not overwhelm one detective. We try to split these big cases up so we can focus. It's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of time. So on this particular day, I was the next person up for a murder.
Okay, and so when you're the next person up, does that mean that you are the lead investigator or the lead detective?
I am the lead.
And
correct.
Then do you kind of direct the other people involved?
Yeah, it's we kind of piggyback off each other. I may give things to do, they may give me their ideas. It's more of a team approach.
Do you recall if there were any other investigators or detectives who played a crucial role in this case?
At that particular time, we had one detective that was off. His name was Investigator Jeff Day. On that night, it was myself and Detective Brandon Wardlaw.
Okay, and does yourself and Detective Brandon Wardlaw, do y'all do the bulk of the investigation on this case?
Yeah, that night I responded to the scene. I believe I sent Detective Wardlaw to UT Hospital to follow up there.
Okay, and so let's talk about that. When did you first become involved in this case? How did you get information that anything was going on?
I received a call via police radio. Generally, a crime of this nature, a shooting, they would alert us by a tone on the radio. On this particular day, the 14th of September of 2019, we got that tone you don't want to hear. We got a 5-year-old shot. We don't know the prognosis. That's, in my experience, I don't know that I've ever had a 5-year-old shot.
And so what did you do when you received that information?
When I received that information, without giving complete details, I live in the Fountain City area. I was probably 15 minutes away from this Fountain City location.
And so did you go to Balsam Drive?
I did.
Do you recall what the exact address was that you went to?
It was 502 Balsam Drive, which is kind of very close to the Duck Pond if you're familiar with Fountain City.
Okay, is that here in Knox County?
It is here in Knoxville, Knox County, Tennessee.
Describe for the jury, please, what the scene looked like when you arrived at Balsam Drive.
When I arrived at the scene, I like to get, I speak with some of the officers, responding officers, because they may notice things that I may not have noticed. They give me some of the encounters they encounter when they first arrive upon the scene. In this particular case, I carry a pocket recorder, so I'm going to record the conversations. Contrary to what you've heard initially, my main concern is this 5-year-old little girl and Robin, because I felt in my heart that we had a killer of a 5-year-old little girl running around, and it freaked me out. Okay. So we're trying to focus to get as much information out there via police radio of this suspect, a general description, a car information, so we can possibly apprehend this killer of a little girl.
And so the information that you had, that there was this killer of this little girl Was that based on the 911 call that the defendant had made earlier that day?
Yes. Dispatch, they relay all that information over to us via the police radio. We knew we were looking for a black male suspect. There was a clothing description, I believe, given, and I believe a black Chrysler 300 that fled the scene.
Okay, and so you got the information about a black individual shooting this child and the clothing description and the description of the car. That all came from the defendant in this case, is that correct?
Come through initially via the defendant and 911.
Okay.
Upon arrival, I spoke with her briefly. My concern was to get her to the hospital as soon as possible, but I wanted a quick, brief statement from her so I could get some understanding and get my bearings together. So I did take a brief statement from her at the residence.
Okay, and so you said that you did have a recording device on you.
I did.
All right, so let's start, if we could. I'm going to show you some pictures so we can get the jury oriented to what's going on. Let me hand you these set of pictures and ask you, do you recognize what's in these pictures?
Are you getting this collectively or individually?
No, I'm going to do them individually.
This is the first one, 10.
Yes, sir.
I think that first one may already be in evidence.
It is, but someone marked it.
Well, she can introduce it again.
Yes, these are actual photos of the residence when you go in and the inside of the residence.
That's 10 through what?
10, 11, 12, and 13.
Let those be marked and filed.
And if we could publish them to the jury.
You may.
12, 13, sorry. Okay. I'm going to start with Exhibit 10, and if we put the first photograph up. Describe for the jury, please, what you are being shown, what you're looking at in Exhibit 10.
The first photo is of the front of the residence. I believe you'll see a police officer at the front door. That glass door is the front of the home.
Okay, and so this is the home that we've been talking about that is the home of the defendant in this case?
This is 502 Balsam, the residence of Robin Howington.
Okay. If we could go to Exhibit 11, can you describe what this is?
This is that mid-room that you were talking, that Officer Cummings had explained. There was a kind of a living room as you go into the home. This is kind of the mid-room. I guess you could consider it a den area. This was where little Destiny was laying on the couch.
Okay. Now, to orient us to this picture, if you were standing in the front door of the house, is this looking straight back into the house?
This is looking in the southern direction, going back toward the back door of the home.
Okay. If we could go to the next picture. Okay, and can you orient us to this picture?
This picture is focused more toward the north, focusing toward the north of the home. You can kind of see the front door there through that room, and this is going facing north.
Okay, now if you touch that screen right in front of you, it's going to make a mark so the jury can see. Can you circle the front door in this picture?
It's not working. I need to hit this little icon.
Well, you just point to it with the arrow, then that's fine. Is that the front door that you're placing?
Yes, you can clearly see the front door of the home.
Okay, and then is there a room right there whenever you first come into the home?
Yes, that is that first living room where Officer Cummings had described as he entered.
Okay, and then the room that we're looking at, that's the most of the picture, is that the second living room that we've been hearing about?
This is the second living room. I would consider it a den area. This kind of looked where, to me, is where the family mainly hung out. That's the couch where Destiny was discovered.
Okay, and if we could go to the next picture. And is that where Destiny's, is this what the couch looked like when you went there that day?
That is correct.
Okay, and this is where you were told that Destiny was found, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, we can have the lights. All right, now you indicated that one of the first things that you did after you talked to the other officers and kind of got some information about what had happened is that you spoke to Ms. Howington, is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you explain to the jury kind of what was going on when you went to speak to Ms. Howington?
Basically, I'm going back over what she's already relayed to 911. Again, I'm kind of amazed by the situation. We're dealing with a 5-year-old that's been shot, and that's just not normal for me, and I've done it for a long time. So I'm just trying to get, again, as much information as possible from her, but I'm also trying to be sympathetic because I know she wants, I'm a parent, I know she wants to go to the hospital, check on her daughter, I understand that. I knew the prognosis was not good, but to my knowledge at that particular time, she was still alive.
So did you speak to Ms. Howington?
I did.
Can you describe for the jury what her demeanor was while you spoke to her?
Again, we've heard a lot about PTSD. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to describe that. I thought she was rather quiet. She was not very anxious to me about finding out who this was. Is that normal? I don't know, because I have worked many scenes over 20 years and people have different emotions. I do understand that.
And so you said that you had a recording device.
I did.
And the recording device that you had, was it video and audio, or was it just audio?
It's only audio. It's a little pocket recorder I stick in my pocket.
Okay, and you've provided a copy of that to the district attorney's office?
I did.
Okay, if we could play a clip of that and have you identify it.
Today's date is the 14th of September 20.
Do you recognize that voice?
I do.
Whose voice is that?
Myself.
And can you explain to the jury what you do when you make a recording?
Generally, I like to dictate the date and time. It doesn't always happen that way, but in this case, I wanted to give the date and the time of where I was and what I was on.
Okay. And so is this the audio recording that you did of the defendant initially there at the scene?
Yes.
I don't know if we could make this the next exhibit.
It'd be marked and filed as 14. Is that on a disc?
It is. We can publish it to the jury.
You may.
Team Tiller, Metro Crime Stockton Police Department, here at the corner of Balsam and Kingwood on 81, where a 5-year-old has been shot in the chest. Going to be entering the residence. Just because it's crime scene, we're still going to get permission. Yes, if not, we'll have to advise her. She out here with Let me explain to you the process.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what happened right now? How old is she in date of birth?
5, 10, 7, 13.
10, 7, 13. And what's her middle age?
Jay.
Correct, sir. This is your house.
Yes, sir.
And we understand this is about your lady.
Yes, sir.
Your baby was shot.
Yes.
Okay. Just I need to get your permission so we can come and process the scene and things like that, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're giving us consent.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm doing, okay? If you'll walk me through this and just tell me where you were at the time of the shooting.
I was in there.
Okay.
We were all in there. We just got home. I was getting ready to feed us. I had roast.
When you say you all, it's you and your dog?
Yes.
Okay, you're in here.
And the door was open like it is now.
Okay. And what happened?
And he just came in here, and we were all sitting right there.
Who's he?
I don't know who he is.
You don't know who this
I don't
guy
have
is?
a clue. I've never seen him in my life.
And he walks in here. Will you show me just so I can know?
Yes.
Is
She was
there a
laying on the couch. I was sitting right beside her. He was sitting right here. I was sitting right here. She was laying right here. And he just shot. And then it was like he was surprised. I don't know if he was trying to shoot me or what, but he shot her.
Where were you sitting?
I was right here.
And she's right here?
Right here.
Right here.
She was laying down right here.
And you were sitting down the whole time he comes in and wants to judge you?
Yes. I didn't even realize he was in here until it was already.
And what happened? How many times did you hear him shoot?
Just one time.
One time. And when he shot, what happened? Did he say anything?
Nothing. He looked like he was surprised because she just went limp.
Who do you live here with?
It's just me and my kids.
You and your kids are
Yes, but I have post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Okay. Well, we're going to get you to the hospital. You probably don't need to drive, so we're going to police and take you.
Okay, that's fine.
And we're going to keep a child for you just so he's safe, okay?
Well, he's supposed to be neighbor, I think.
Okay, but you're right now, just because, remember,
I told you the other agencies are going to be involved just because we've got small kids involved.
Right.
So when we got to stay above the radar, we're going to help you all we can, but we don't want to leave that child not knowing where he's at. So I'm saying that's why I want you to kind of drive all the way to the, a certain area. When the suspect leaves, do you follow him out?
No.
You don't find
No, I was here with my daughter.
There was some information coming on the radio saying he was driving a black Chrysler.
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because I've seen it.
From
when
here?
You can sit right here and see the door was wide open.
The crime scene's right here. It's on you turn on the lights. Or
You gotta plug it in.
right. Maybe you're sitting right here. Laying on the couch where she sits. And I'm going to measure it from here to there. I didn't see the show. But it's hard to see. Okay. Just so we can get you to the hospital. We're going to look around here. We're going to be sure that's the process.
Yes, sir.
So when we leave, we'll go off this door.
All right, okay, let me make sure I get my kids. Get my phone first.
Hey, here's what we'll do. Let's go ahead. I've got a brief little statement from her. And let's go ahead and get her over to the hospital, check on the status of the daughter. The little boy, we're just keeping him with us until we get special crimes. You want us to also help us unless you can, somebody here close where we know the kid's at. Okay. Take this neighbor. This concludes my brief interview of the victim or the victim's mother.
Detective Riddle, the male voice that we heard, is that your voice?
It is.
Okay, and the female voice that we heard, who was that?
That was Robin Howington.
Okay. Was there also somebody that was grunting or kind of crying or something like that you could hear?
Yeah, I believe that was little Gavin, the 2-year-old.
All right. And then were there other officers that you were speaking to kind of intermittently?
When I believe you'll hear initially, I spoke with officers, and then inside the home, I'm probably speaking with officers again, and I'm also speaking with forensic technicians. When you hear a measurement, I wanted a measurement from that den area all the way out that front door because I thought it was an extreme distance to get a depiction of a car and to be accurate. I mean, it was a pretty good long ways, especially in the dark.
Okay, and so that's what I was going to ask you about next. So you can hear in this recording that the defendant is describing for you things that are happening within that house. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm going to pull up this exhibit right here that we had up just a moment ago. It's going to be exhibit... Yeah. You can go ahead and put it up. Exhibit 12. Okay, is that the same as what's on the screen?
That is correct.
All right, and can you describe what Ms. Howington was saying to you?
She was describing to me that she's in this living room and she can see out that open door all the way to the street where you saw the lights come in. That's a significant distance to me. That's the first clue. I don't know how you can recognize a Chrysler 300 from the distance from in that den area all the way to a street, and considering in the darkness.
Okay. And so was there anything else that Ms. Howington said to you initially there in that first interview that caused you concern or gave you pause in any way?
I don't think anything other than how she could get... And she, sometimes witnesses are wrong. I just was curious as to how she could have got a good picture of that, sight picture of that car. So nothing really generally took place there until we got her over to the hospital. Then the red flags started showing up.
Okay. So let me ask you about a couple other things that you all discussed in that initial interview. She indicated that Destiny's date of birth is October 7th of 2013.
Yes, and I believe she might have been giving that to another officer.
Okay. Were you able to confirm Destiny's date of birth?
I believe so.
And was that her date of birth?
Yes.
So that would have made her 5 years old at this time?
Correct.
All right. Do you also recall there was some discussion about shell casings?
Yes, and what I'm doing, again, I'm going in to look this scene over. I did not see a shell casing, and it's not uncommon not to find a shell casing. Those suckers will bounce around and do everything, so I just didn't see one.
Okay, and so in this case, ultimately, what do you find out about the shell casing?
Ultimately, you're talking about
in the course of the investigation?
In the course of the investigation, the shell casing was located in the chamber of the firearm.
Okay, and so you didn't see it there at the scene, and ultimately later on in your investigation, that's where it was determined to be.
It was not located. The firearm was located.
Okay. After you spoke to the defendant in this case briefly, did you all, I believe you had some discussion about how she was going to get to the hospital?
I did. And in a homicide investigation, phones are important. At this particular time, Robin was not a suspect in this crime. She was a mother upset over the shooting of her daughter. I wouldn't think she would do this to her child. So I wanted to get her to the hospital. I didn't take her phone. She's not a suspect. But later on, when I developed reasonable suspicion, probable cause that something is not right, that's when I said, we got to get that phone.
Okay, so whenever she went to the hospital, do you recall how she was transported to the hospital?
She was transported to the hospital in the back of a police cruiser. We just didn't want her driving. I mean, we didn't want her doing 100 miles down the road, an hour down the road. We wanted to get her there safe, so we put her with a police officer.
Okay, and then again, you didn't take her phone at that time because you had no reason to?
No, personally, I felt like she probably needed to reach out to people, family members.
So, Detective Riddle, what happened next as far as your investigation? She goes to the hospital, and what's the next thing that you...
I'm still at the original scene, 502 Balsam. I think I'm waiting on investigator Phyllis Tonkin. She is a special crimes investigator. A crime of this nature, you have to get... you've got a 5-year-old that's been shot. You've got a 2-year-old still in the home. You have to get the Department of Child Services involved. They have to send out their investigative team. So it's a culmination of people looking into this crime. So I'm actually at the scene waiting on Investigator Tonkin to come in and get her team together.
Okay, and so just so it's clear to the jury, Investigator Tonkin is with family crimes, so she's going to be working with DCS as part of their investigation. Is that correct?
Special crimes deals strictly with DCS. We have no encounter with that. So what we do is we lean on them to run that into the investigation to deal with DCS.
Okay. At some point in time, did you receive any information from anybody at the hospital?
I believe it was either through Wardlaw or definitely no. Trooper Tucker called me from the hospital.
Tell the jury about that, please.
Via police radio. I generally, a bad habit, I do not carry a phone with me. So I had only access I had to my person was my police radio. We're on a special sides channel. He calls me and says, hey, Robin is trying to destroy her phone or give it away. So I immediately said, take her phone. This is not normal behavior.
Okay, and so obviously you can't go out and get the phone, so you've instructed Officer Tucker to take the phone.
I instructed him to take the phone and I believe relay that to Investigator Wardlaw, who's still at the hospital getting a prognosis of Destiny.
What happens next?
I believe I clear that scene because we want to get in there now. I'm curious as to what's going on. Why would someone want to destroy their phone? So I want to get her down and get an interview. I mean, I know we've heard that she got PTSD and things of this nature. We're dealing with a homicide of a 5-year-old little girl. It's sad. So we need to get this information. We need to learn from someone that would want to give us that information, a parent. They would want to get that information to the Knoxville Police Department.
I'm going to object to the continued editorializing of what he thinks people should do and what they should do.
Well, explain what you did, not why somebody else would think what they should do.
I got her down to interview her about the death of her child.
Okay. And so do you recall what time it was when you started the interview with the defendant?
I believe it was probably shortly after 11 p.m., maybe 11:14 p.m. that evening.
Mm-hmm. Did you think it would have been better to wait till the next day to interview her?
No, I do not.
Why not?
Just because we've got to get that information out there. We've got to figure out what's going on.
Okay. And so did Ms. Howington agree to come and give an interview to you?
I believe she was after she had spoke to the doctors, she was transported back to the Knoxville Police Department for an interview.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Is this a good time to break for lunch? It is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the food, if it's not here already, will be here in the next few minutes. I'm assuming the next thing that will take place is you're going to hear the interview of Ms. Howington at the Knoxville Police Department. That's much more lengthy than what we've heard up to this point, certainly much more lengthy than the brief interview you heard at her home. So this is probably a good time to break for lunch. Remember the court's admonitions from yesterday. Do not discuss the case with one another or with any other person, and do not attempt to learn anything at all about the case from any independent source. We're going to take about an hour, maybe a few minutes longer, give you plenty of time to eat. Enjoy your lunch. We'll see you back in about an hour. All rise for the jury. Before we break for lunch. All right, let's plan on being back in here at 1:30, ready to go back to work.